Hi, my name is Joel Amadon. I am an associate professor at the University of Mississippi in the Department of Teacher Education, offering 4 principles of tutoring. So if you're watching this video, maybe you've decided to volunteer to become a tutor, or maybe even you're going to become a tutor for hire, whatever. However you came to this video, these are some things that, in my experience, are things to keep in mind, keep it on top of your mind when you're going to engage in a tutoring relationship. So I'm going to quickly flip this up. So here we go, 4 principles for tutoring, real quick. Prepare your mindset. What I would say is have an asset-based perspective, an asset mindset towards the person you're going to be tutoring. Don't think about what they don't have. Yes, you're engaged in a tutoring relationship. They probably are needing that because they're lacking understanding in some content, right, from their studies. But think about what they do have. What do they understand? What do they like? What are the things they experience in their lives? What do they participate in? What are the activities that they do? What are the things that you can draw on to help facilitate that connection between themselves and the content? And so preparing your mindset, looking for those assets that you can use to help them understand the content is going to help you out immensely. So again, prepare your mindset. Don't have that deficit perspective, like just looking at what they don't have. Think about what they do have. So prepare your mindset. That's first principle. Second principle, build relationships. So the old adage is that the student doesn't care doesn't care about what you know until they know that you care. Right? So building that relationship. What's their name? What's a little bit about their story? What other things are they interested in? And this kind of goes back into the prepare your mindset. Think about the assets that they have. But building that relationship between you and them is critical. Think of it as a conduit. Now, a conduit is a piece of plastic pipe that's between a power source and a device, right? That can then, the conduit allows the wires to go to make that connection between the power and the device. So you see that in buildings, a lot of things will have conduit. Your relationship is the conduit for learning between that person and the content in which they are learning. Your relationship facilitates that connection. And so thinking about that, what you're trying to do is create a relationship between, or make better the relationship between that student and the content. And so by you developing a relationship with them, that will also help them develop a relationship with the content that they're trying to learn. So this is all about building relationships. Don't think about breaking them down. Think about building them. And also think about building them between themselves and the teacher. So maybe help them, if they don't have a great relationship with their teacher from school, think about how can you help them gain better perspective, like on that relationship, right? So help them develop that relationship, because that's another conduit. So if they don't have a good relationship with their teacher, so help them maybe see different perspectives on their teacher, what they're trying to do within the classroom. So build relationships. No matter what we want to do, we want to build relationships. And also just building a relationship between them and learning, just getting them excited about learning, that's another relationship we can build as well. Third principle, keep concrete. So when at all possible, try to keep things as concrete as possible. So when I'm thinking about, my background is in mathematics, when I'm thinking about trying to help a student, solve a system of equations, or trying to help them with learning multiplication facts, I want to keep as concrete as possible. I want to use counters like your fingers or other things that helps them see, like, what are we actually doing? Don't just manipulate symbols. Don't even just manipulate numerals, because numerals are still kind of abstract, right? To know, like for an elementary kid, to know that the numeral 3 actually means 3 items. Let's make sure we make that connection, that numeral 3 represents 3 things. And so that if we're multiplying, let's think about, like 3 times 5, I want to think about 3 5s, right? I want to be able to see and count 3 5s. And if they have that, yes, we can move a little bit more abstract. We can maybe make some drawings, but don't be afraid to get counters out. Or if we're talking about a pineapple, bring up a picture of a pineapple. Like we're supposed to, if there's a reading thing, we have to read about a pineapple. Don't be afraid to bring up a picture of a pineapple. Or if you have pineapple, bring out a pineapple. Whatever. Keep things as concrete as possible. Don't underestimate the power of pictures or the power of objects in getting the kid to make that connection. So even the touching and feeling of things can facilitate a better relationship between themselves and what they're trying to learn. So keep as concrete as possible. And really the research says is you go from concrete to representational, like pictures or drawings. Those are representational to abstract. So if I'm thinking about numbers, concrete would be like if I'm talking about the number three, like three things, like three objects, three rocks, whatever. And then thinking about drawing of three things, like hey, there's three things. And then abstract would be the number three, right? So three rocks, you can actually picture three rocks in my hand, and then we talk about maybe drawing three rocks. They look like kind of like circles, and then we say the number three, and we can even put the word rocks. That's very abstract. So moving along that continuum from concrete to abstract, a lot of times we're sticking a lot to the abstract. Try to keep as much things as concrete as possible. All right, final principle is preserve the learning. And remember, who's trying to develop the relationship between themselves and the content? That's the student. And so making sure that the work being done is not by you, the tutor. Don't steal the learning. So we want to preserve the learning. So thinking about asking questions, and don't say anything that student can say. We might give hints, we might ask, pointed questions, but allow them to come up with the understanding. You don't ever want to be just telling them what to do. Okay? You don't want to just be telling them what to do, because that does nothing. If you engage in a tutoring relationship, and let's say you're working through a homework and everything you do is you're telling them what to do, as soon as you're removed from that equation, what are they able to do on their own, right? You don't want them to be dependent on you. So you want to, again, facilitate that relationship. And basically, going back to our building relationships, if we're telling them what to do, that means that the learning has to go through you, all right? You are interfering with that relationship. It's like, having a friend where the only way that friend will come over is if another friend is with them. Like there's no way that you can just invite that friend on their own. That's not a very good relationship, is it? So we want to make sure that they have a direct relationship with the content. So making sure we're not telling them what to do if it's a problem. We're not just finding the answer like, hey, just copy this down. No, we're stealing the learning from them. We are literally stealing the learning from that student, and we don't want to do that. Okay. So there's my quickly little 4 principles of tutoring. We want to prepare our mindset, we want to build relationships, we want to keep concrete, and we want to preserve the learning. If we do that, we're on our way to helping that student develop a better relationship with the content that they're trying to learn. And just have fun. Have fun. Make sure we keep that perspective that learning is fun. And thanks for engaging in some tutoring. Bye.